If your ICP is off, nothing else matters. Not the angle, not the offer, not the sequence. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact strategies that we use to find hot buyers that actually are interested in receiving your email. So we're going to dive into how to improve your cold email ICP. At the end of the day, the people that you email are extremely important, and people don't fully understand the extent to which you need to understand the person that you're reaching out to. A lot of people just assume that you can reach out to these people and present them with your offer, but you need to actually do deep research around the people that you are emailing, right? You need to fully understand their pain points, what their language is like, because if you want to seem relevant at all to them, that is the approach that you need to take. So in this guide, I'm going to show you the exact strategies that we use to pinpoint ICPs and to fully understand their pain points. So as an example, in terms of metrics to expect from a good ICP, what you're looking at is anywhere between 2 to 6% reply rate. And then on that, 25 to 35% of them are going to be positive replies. Now, what that means is, let's say you get 100 replies, 25%, or rather 25 of those replies should be positive, meaning that they are asking for information or happy to get on a call with you. From those book calls that you get, you should be looking to close at around 30%. Now that is sort of good ICP, meaning that you've done your research, you understand their pain points, and clearly everything is adding up. If you're able to hit these numbers consistently, you've pretty much nailed your ICP. The next slide goes over how to kill vague ICPs, how to get extremely specific with the person and the company that you're targeting. So you need to look at this in two separate lights, right? You've got the companies and then you've got the people. On the company side of things, so the technographics, you've basically got revenue ranges, headcounts, technology stacks, geographic locations, and funding stage. Now, the most easily accessible filters there are definitely headcounts and geographies. As soon as you start going into technology stacks, funding stages, revenue ranges, data starts to become a little bit mixed up and possibly even incorrect, especially when you start touching revenue ranges of non-public companies. What I always like to say is rely on relevancy rather than getting extremely specific with who you're reaching out to the sense of going into specific revenue ranges, technology stacks, funding stages. If you have the right software to be able to identify correct technology stacks such as built with, or funding stages such as Crunchbase, then by all means go do that. You're going to end up with a lot less data, but it can still be extremely relevant and extremely targeted. The revenue range side of things, I would almost always advise against that. If it's not a public company, you're not going to be able to access their financial information. Then you've got the people filters. Now you've got specific job titles, seniority level, team size managed, decision-making authority, budget ownership. On a high level, in terms of what you can scrape for, in terms of getting leads, you're looking at job titles, seniority level, and those are pretty much the main ones. You need to remove anyone with a budget, essentially, in inverted commas, that you're targeting to these specific filters, right? So you need to fully understand what their job is. As an example, some marketing related strategies might be better suited reaching out to the chief marketing officer rather than the founder. Especially if you start reaching out to bigger companies that have over 50 employees, the founder isn't really necessarily going to be the right decision maker for your offer. So that's always something to keep in mind as well. Now, there's three micro segments, right? There's trigger buyers, there's pain buyers, and timing buyers. So trigger buyers is basically recent funding rounds, new hires, right? So when they hire for an SDR, when they hire for a CRM, let's say they switch CRMs, so that's technologies. All these different things can indicate different ideas around what stage that company is at. It's your job to identify which one your offer relates to the most. So if you're doing appointment setting, it's going to be looking for companies that are maybe hiring for SDRs because they're looking for sales development reps. They're looking for more they're looking for more invites on their calendar. They're looking for more demo. Then you've got pain buyers, meaning that they have higher churn than normal. Right? They have operational leaks, companies actively experiencing problems that your solution solves right now. This one is going to be a lot trickier to, let's say, find. But here you've just got to go off of basic industry insights. So if you find out that, let's say in the manufacturing industry, XYZ is happening and you've spoken to a whole bunch and you've done your market research, you've identified a pain, and you're going to put your offer in front of those pain points. Then there's timing buyers, meaning that it's a fiscal year end, let's say industry events. You have the ability to implant your offer at the right time. A lot of outreach has to do with timing, and a lot of people wouldn't move forward at a specific time, but will move forward at another time, right? So it's also your job to try and understand what sort of time your buyer would buy from you? When are they most likely to buy from you? Is it in the December period? Is it before Black Friday? These are all things to consider. Then you've got your data, right? So your source, and need to verify. So obviously verification of data is a completely separate thing, but that's sort of standard protocol. You have to verify your data before running it. And I would just recommend using quality sources, right? So use sources like Apollo, Sales Navigator, or any niche industry directories, right? So let's say as an example for ecom, you're going to be looking at store leads, but just build that with accurate company and contact data. Don't buy it off of someone's old list or use inaccurate data, right? Then from there, you're going to verify the email addresses, right? You want to keep bounce rates under 3%. I mean, ideally under 1%, but 3% is still all right, I believe. And then you want to apply negative filters. So you want to exclude particular things, because what happens naturally when running data, you're going to bring in other industries and other niches, right? That might fall under the similar keywords. So that's also one thing to keep an eye out for. Then you want to enrich for relevance. Once you have the data, then you're able to enrich for tech stacks, trigger events, social proof, anything like that. That can all majority of the time be done through Clay. So you can basically search for their case studies, their trigger events and all that stuff. Then the next thing is you need to craft an offer that actually fits that cold buyer. The first thing is just framing quick offer masterclass. Frame outcomes, right? Results in outcomes. So X result in Y time frame with Z proof points. So that relevancy, that testimonial, that case study needs to be relevant to them. It needs to be a similar industry, something that makes them feel like they could be in that position. Then the next step is adding a risk reversal to that. So essentially you want to lower the friction with any guarantees, any free trials, any money back promises, anything like that. That's also a key. And then you want to make deliverables concrete, right? They don't care about the process in which you do something. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to answer an email whereby you're selling them SEO. You're going to sell them more inbound leads as a result of SEO. So if you can put deliverables behind that, such as we'll bring you X, we'll increase your inbound leads by X% within the next 90 days. This is how we helped another company do it. That's similar to yours. Then that's a good offer. That will be a good cold email. You can sequence by segment. So email 1 is the curiosity hook. 3 lines maximum. You don't want to keep the email long at all. No links, absolutely no links. Soft micro call to action, and then align angle to the trigger, pain, or timing signal. So one of the 3. Email 2 can be social proof, right? So that's where you want to go into the details of the relevant case study or metrics that demonstrate credibility and results for similar companies. Then you want to add value, provide useful insight, tool, resource, regardless of whether they buy, right? So you just want to provide them value, show them that you know what you're talking about. Then email 4 is a scarcity driver. So that's where you introduce time-bound elements for limited availability. So, hey, we're only onboarding 3 partners this quarter. Let me know if this is something you'd be interested in. Then there's the breakup email. Final polite check-in, asking if timing is off or if you should close their file. It often triggers a response. Another good last break-off email is checking if they are the right person at the company to contact regarding that matter. That's also a great one. And then obviously it goes without saying, but maintain deliverability and optimize daily. Essentially, if you aren't landing in someone's inbox, there's no point of even sending the email, right? Because if you're landing in their spam box, there's really no point. It's very unprofessional, doesn't look good, and nobody really checks their spam folders anyway. Always warm up the domains, cap sends, don't send more than 15 emails a day per email account, no links at all ever, remove spam trigger phrases, and then track inbox health metrics daily. Then what you want to do is basically take a look at which angles are performing best, optimize those angles, as well as double down on them, turn off the bad performers. It's not necessarily a thing of, okay, after X amount of sends, then that's when you start doing that. It's more so about opportunities, right? So if one angle is getting 5 opportunities, another angle is getting 1 opportunity, but you've only sent out 200 emails, then you still optimize on that because you're optimizing on opportunities. So this is pretty much the full spectrum on how we go about getting that ICP dialed in. Just short reminders for the calls. Use LinkedIn, connect with them on LinkedIn, creates that engagement, and that's how we also achieve 80 to 90% show rates. Monitor, test, refine all the time. That's all I can say for you in this video. Try to keep it as short as possible while also digging into everything. Try not to miss anything. So yeah, if this video has helped you at all, feel free to check out our website, see if full management is something that you'd be interested in. We have strategic partnerships, so we take revenue share, meaning that we grow with our partners. Generally, our partners add anywhere from 100 to 600K within the first 90 days. So yeah, if you have a good offer, if you want this to be fully managed for you, click the link below and we will do it for you. Looking forward to speaking. Cheers.